England squad for the November internationals, folks, plus the fixtures. We'll go through them and you guys can let us know your thoughts. If you want any England gear, the England Rugby store down in the description. They're doing a free shipping in the UK deal at the moment. So if you want to take advantage of that for some Red Roses or England Rugby gear, England men's rugby gear, check it out. It's an affiliate of the channel. We will go through the squad in just a tick. The fixtures are Argentina, Japan, New Zealand, and South Africa. I believe the South African game fits outside of the test window, so not sure if it'll be 100% full-strength South African team, but it's still a pretty tasty-looking fixtures list. Argentina are going to be coming in hot, fresh out of the Rugby Championship, although remember, with their players largely scattered throughout the Premiership and other competitions, their prep is not going to be what it is with maybe the Springboks, Wallabies, and All Blacks, who are all kind of in their own little camps. The Argentinian guys have essentially had to go back to work. Japan's been getting prepared with a Japanese 15, which is essentially the Japanese team playing the Wallabies A team, and then New Zealand will, because they were able to select their full strength team, that's honestly looking really tasty. Plus South Africa, but yeah, man, it's going to be a pretty full-on November, and I for one am pretty happy to see it. Now, Eddie Jones is unable to select a number of players due to injury. The list that I've been able to gather includes and is not limited to the likes of Jamie George, Alfie Barbary, Nick Dolly, Charlie Ewels, Ollie Chesham, Nick Kazikwe, Sam Underhill, Alex Dombrandt. So a number of forwards are unavailable, plus George Ford, Harry Randall, Tommy Freeman. I even forgot about Will Stewart. Like a load of guys who are unavailable for the squad. The omissions, I think, are more maybe controversial in the backs than the forwards, but you guys will probably be able to chug us some names that you think may have been unlucky. I mean, George McGuigan's your only uncapped hooker in the mix, although Jack Singleton is very low on caps, and I swear at least one of his 3 caps is being deployed as a flanker rather than as a hooker. So Luke Cowan-Dickie is probably your main guy, but I mean, McGuigan's been tearing it up for Newcastle for a couple of years now, so good to see him get some reward. Val Rapava-Ruskin is a great call-up in the props, although they have got 4 loose heads and 2 tight heads by my count, so that's a bit of an interesting one. But Val Rapava-Ruskin is one of those props that you notice. Like, some props can just kind of go under the radar. They just scrum and they clean out and they lift. You know, they don't do anything flashy. Whereas Val Rapava-Ruskin, I mean, he does the core role, but he also scores tries and kicks 50-22s and stuff. So really pleased for him to get a crack. Like I mentioned, the only other thing about the props is the kind of uneven split with it's Joe Hayes and Carl Sinclair. As far as I'm aware, the only 2 tight heads, unless one of the other 4 guys can kind of moonlight as a bit of a tight head. But there we go. The locks is where you see maybe the most inexperience with Ribbons, Tizard, and Coles, who are all uncapped. But I mean, you've still got Courtney Laws, Mara Toje, Johnny Hill, who are all kind of veteran campaigners. So it would not be surprising to see maybe a more experimental side run out against potentially Japan, maybe even Argentina, and then a bit more kind of traditional setup with New Zealand and South Africa. But who knows, man? Eddie always has some kind of plan up his sleeve, so he's kind of a hard guy to predict. And then Lucy's Tom Curry, Ludlam Simmons, Billy V, and Jack Willis. I mean, Ben Earl was the kind of main name among all the forwards that I thought. He's a bit of a tough one, but I mean, I guess when you've got Jack Willis and you've got Tom Curry, do you need, and even Ludlam, do you really need Ben Earl? I guess if you're going to have Earl, you probably don't need one of the other guys. So that's just what, what Eddie's gone with. But, I'm a stats guy. Like, I always look up who's got the most turnovers and whatnot, and Ben Earl. He's either first or second for turnovers won in the Premiership thus far this year. So he seems to be having a cracking campaign and can certainly consider himself very unlucky. Scrum-halves, the main one that was interesting for me was the omission of Alex Mitchell. I know he's kind of fallen out of favour, but I thought, based on what limited amount of the Premiership I've seen this year, he may have just played himself back into contention. But no, it's Quirk, Van Portfleet and Youngs. I mean, Quirk the other day was pretty bloody amazing for Sale, but he's not that much game time. So, yeah, it's an interesting call. The midfield's looking a little bit light. I mean, I know they got Marcus Smith to cover 10. Farrell to cover maybe 10 or 12, and then you got Will Joseph, Guy Porter, and Manu Tuilangi. And then you got like a million outside backs. Again, unless some of these guys that I'm about to name can cover the midfield in a pinch. It just seems a little bit kind of light. I mean, Manu Tuilangi, I swear, every time I do one of these videos, hey, Eddie Jones has named his lineup. Hey, Manu Tuilangi's back. And I'll say some line like, let's hope he stays fit. And then by the time I publish the video, he's already been out injured in some kind of England training session. Fingers crossed that guy stays fit. Again. But it just seems a little bit light. I would have thought maybe one more body in the midfield. But yeah, those are the guys Eddie has gone with. And then, as I mentioned, outside backs, Arundel, Thokinasing and Malins, Furbank, May. Murley is a great call-up because he's been on fire for Quins, Jack Noel and Freddie Stewart. So, yeah, it does seem really crowded with the outside backs. I mean, Arundel is phenomenal with, just excitement machine player, beats defenders for fun. Malins and Murley are on crazy try-scoring runs. Johnny May is maybe a bit of a a safer pick. You can maybe see him playing up against South Africa. A bit maybe a safer guy if he's going to be responding to some high balls alongside Freddie Stewart at the back kind of thing. But it's certainly an interesting one. I mean, Elliot Daly has been playing his heart out for Sarries, so his versatility in the midfield and the outside backs is maybe a slightly surprising one. Henry Slade is certainly also one that you would have thought maybe is ahead of somebody else, at least at international level. Ollie Lawrence had a pretty good game for Bath the other day, but still not favoured. And then outside backs, I mean, Hassel Collins, Radwan. I'm not sure if... it's just another one of those ones where if you're going to pick Radwan or Hassel Collins, do you need Arundel and Murley? Maybe not. So you can probably only pick so many. So... Eddie's gone with the guys that he's gone for. So, yes, it is an interesting one with Eddie Jones' picks, as always. As I mentioned, the midfield, if they're playing Smith at 10, and then you've got 4 midfielders, I guess that makes sense. But if Smith were to get injured, Farrell has to go at 10, and then you've got, I don't know what the midfield looks like. I don't know. It's just, with Tuilangi's injury record, it just seems a little bit light. Alex Mitchell, for mine, is a tough call, but as I said, you can only pick so many. It's always going to be one of those debates, isn't it? But here we go, folks. England squad. How do you reckon they're going to go? What does England need to target? Do they need to go kind of 4 from 4? Or is it still enough time before the World Cup that you can go 3 out of 4 as a successful campaign? Surely they have to beat Argentina and Japan and then win one of the 2 against New Zealand and South Africa. You guys let us know your thoughts on the England squad. Anybody else who's kind of a interesting omission, or anybody else who you think, I think Watson's come back from injury, right? I guess he's maybe not had enough game time, but then Quirk's been kind of rushed back in. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.